So I'm talking to Anna Bliek. We've just heard a very interesting presentation relating to wind power in the Netherlands. Would you tell us a little about the background of the projects that you've been discussing?
Well, wind power is onshore in Holland a rather difficult subject because we are a very densely populated country and we have a lot of objectives, and it's also just a question of where to put the windmills onshore. And so we have a lot of discussion, and on the regional level we have discussions about the spatial planning of the wind turbines. But that is only one aspect. The other aspect is also the funding of the national government. In Holland we don't have a system like in Germany, a feed-in tariff, but we have subsidies. And a few years ago the national government just from one day to another day stopped that specific subsidy. And then they changed it to a very more sober subsidy. And that is why everybody has to get accustomed to the changes. So you see the last few years practically no wind turbines onshore were elevated in the Netherlands.
So no new projects?
So no new projects. Now one is starting in Flevoland, maybe because we have to go to court at the end, but we did all the homework, you can say.
Yes.
But that is because we made a special arrangement within the subsidy regulations. So because it is a very complicated project, it is onshore and also near shore, and that didn't accommodate that development, so we made a special arrangement. But it's very hard work, and you had at least we worked now for 3 very intensive years at the project, a lot of people, a lot of communication also with the national government, and I hope we will succeed, but it is complicated, and that is why I said in my presentation just now that it's very important to have a more long-term policy from the government, because that is why the international banks and the banks will invest into large projects for renewable energy.
Sure. Now, I mean, clearly when we see what goes on at Copenhagen, for example, and probably Cancun later in the year, money is a huge, huge issue. And without a doubt, you know, the governments are talking about top-level solutions, but these things over decades are going to cost trillions of dollars. Yeah. And someone's got to pay, and it can't all be governments, which means that private finance has to be involved. And as you're saying there are issues relating to the way that private finance wants to invest, the way that government policy works. From your experience, would you have any message about what's really required?
Acquired is to have your policy. It has to be a strategy, and it has to not be a short-term but long-term.
So stability then.
Stability. If you decide 10 years ago on that place, in that certain spot, you can have a wind turbine park, then you can't say after 9 years, because in 9 years the entrepreneurs and also with all the organizations around it are planning and working and doing arithmetic to get the project okay. And then you can't say as a regional government or a local government or a national government after 9 years, no, I just changed my mind because the governments also change. I changed my mind, we won't do it. And that is not good. So it really needs a long-term strategy.
So the situation that you've just described, where the subsidies stopped and rules were changed, were you able to find replacement financing, or did things just literally stop?
Well, they stopped, but the replacement finance is the change of the national government from the subsidy method, and that we also discussed, and we had a package deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So private finance was still difficult to come by. It was still essentially government money.
They only would go into the private investment would only come if the government had a sure statement.
Okay, thank you. That's an interesting message on a subject that's going to be very big in December, I'm sure. Thank you for your time.